These are the Jotunheim Mountains, home to almost 30 of Norway's highest peaks. For centuries, this landscape held passes and hunting game trails. The travelers and hunters who utilized this wilderness left parts of their stories locked in the ice. Due to global climate change, the melting ice is exposing their locked-away secrets. During 2017, in the Southern Range, the archaeologist group Secrets of the Ice came upon 4 blades in the rock fields of the retreating glacier. This being the one of great interest, from a basic examination of the blade, we know it to be one of piled or folded bloom construction, which is normal for blades of this era. Birch burl was used as the handle, and no spacer or end plates were found, as would be on more elaborate knives from the period. The blade is a full tang knife, with the tang folded over at the end to create a lanyard loop instead of the more common practice of peening the tang into an end plate or making a stub tang. Look closely, and the remains of a leather tie are still present. The blade is greatly worn down from a possible original size. This could be due to 2 main factors. The blade has too high of a carbon content and broke off more easily, or the carbon content was too low, which resulted in frequent sharpening and thereby enhancing blade size reduction. To start this recreation, steel needs to be made. Using magnetite mixed with a little silica and charcoal from hardwood, when heated correctly in a smelter, steel can be made. It's a bitter cold night in January, but making steel is most magical when done under the stars. Slowly taking apart the smelter reveals the bloom. The heat is indescribable. It passes through you as though you're not even there. No credence is given to the knowledge that you are the maker. The fires of creation are the same fires that make destruction. Do not turn your back on them. In just a few short hours of sleep, the world has turned into a frozen landscape that this southern belle is not a fan of. It's always fascinating to me how quickly the deeds of yesterday are forgotten by time. Fires once bright, now cold and gone. Now it's time to start refining this bloom. In there is a wide range of carbon content, from iron to steel to cast iron. Bloom is far from an exact science, but we will be doing direct reduction. Not knowing how dense the bloom is, I went with a guess on how much I would need to refine to make a blade. A great deal of material is lost in the refining process. The sparks give us some insight into the carbon content of the bloom. The long, straight sparks are low to no carbon. The sparks that seem to burst a little are mid-carbon range. The sparks that pop like a firework are high carbon. This bloom has a good mixture that once folded will leave me with enough carbon for a good edged knife.
It's really difficult to cut, telling me it's very dense.
The porous interior can now be seen. This should refine nicely. It will take some time to get this much steel up to forge welding temp.
Borax is applied as a flux to help clean, scale, and to aid in successful forge welding. Fluxing was historically known, but limited.
Most of the gaps have now been closed up, but a few more refining folds are being done to improve the homogeneous metallurgical structure. It's been nearly 20 hours refining this bloom, and the ascension of dawn is fast upon me. The day is mine. what does not film well is the long process of sanding and finishing. There is not much to do other than the time investment. Being in peaceful places during this process can be very meditative. I often think too deep during this time. Being in nature and hearing the smooth flow of the stream puts me at ease and I can relax. There have been many gods that humans have made to lord over our ways. Gods for wine, war, women, and wanderlust. If you look, there is an old god for almost everything. Even with my love of fire and smithing, there are many to choose from. It is hard for me to find a path to any of them outside of the simple concept of nature. Watching this water move, could I be seeing a part of my future self softly roll past me? Did I ever, in part or whole, flow down these banks? I stopped trying to question those things that one small life could ever wholly know, and I feel the power of the living earth under my body, and that lets me know that my faith is in the right place. The place of creation. That which is birthed from my mind and my two hands, bargained for and traded with the gods for my sweat and blood, lets me touch the same power that brought this wild into being. All these things move in my mind with the simple rhythmic flow of the sandpaper going back and forth, and the stream rolls ever onward past me, each part of it catching a glimpse of me and my new work as the water chatters in approval. The find did not include a sheath, but surely it would have had one. Being that the blade was a simple one for its time period, a sheath without metal adornments would have been likely. Here is the leather being steeped in water to make it easier to form.